because we have lot of stuff to cover. So let's begin. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah. So we start with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And we send our peace and blessings to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is the structure that we want to kind of discuss with. Obviously, as the Sheikh said, you want to give the person the message, his message. What was his message? So we started this discussion with what? What was the message of the Prophet ﷺ? La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. So we build from that message. Now their fitrah is asking questions like, why? Is this man speaking the truth? Do we really know? So that's why we're building this discussion this way. Yeah? So here's the thing we need to think about. Yeah? So when we look at his life, even before Prophet ﷺ proclaimed his prophecy, he was known to look after the orphans and the elderly. Okay? He was known to be the honest and trustworthy. Even his enemies attested to his truthfulness. As you know, the long hadith from Abu Sufyan and Hercules, right? So we know that, what do people lie about? Why do the people lie? They lie for worldly gains, right? Really, or they lie out of fear. What else? The Prophet ﷺ wasn't afraid of anyone, right? And he wasn't lying because he needed anything. Allah had given him everything. Even when he lost it, he didn't chase it. He died, like I had this one brother, I was telling him in one of the universities, I said that, he said maybe he was, saying this so he can become rich. The Prophet ﷺ died next to nothing to his name, nothing. So if he did it for money, surely he didn't get that, and that wasn't his goal. So what was his message? Was to worship Allah alone. When we're talking about if he's not lying, then maybe he was deluded, right? So look at this. I want you to kind of understand this for a second. Can a deluded person come with this system of life? Dietary laws, how to eat, what to eat, when to eat, how to eat, right? Marriage, how to take care of your family, an economical system for you to manage your finances and to manage the finances of the planet Earth, right? A family life, how to deal with your parents, how to deal with your children, how to deal with your uncles, and silat al-rahim, keeping that relationship, right? And talking about, law, criminal law, rituals, etiquettes, all of these things, could it come from a deluded person? You ask them. And say, no, it's impossible, right? So prophecies of the Prophet ﷺ, as the Sheikh talked about one of the prophecies in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the Romans will be victorious in certain time. Not only that, we have prophecies that have been happening not only in the time of the Prophet ﷺ till today. Like for example, in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, when his son died, right? Ibrahim, they said this, do you know why they said that? Why did they say that, today you must be a true prophet because the heavens are crying for you? Do you guys know why did they say that? Does anybody know? Why did the mushrikeens or the people of the time of the Prophet ﷺ, the indigenous people of that area around him, why did they say that? Can anybody think? I'll give you an example. It's human nature to look up at something greater than you. So people, when they don't have they always want to see something. So when they see things like the sun and the moon and these kind of things, they obviously attribute power to them. That they must be very powerful. So they make them into a deity. Something that's very grandiose. Do you understand? So why am I saying that? The Arabs were very superstitious people. They had lots of superstitions. One of the superstitions was that the sky, the samawat, these things are gods. So when the gods are, when the sun and the moon comes together, and when the eclipse happened, that means the gods are crying. That's what one of the assumptions they had. Now, can I tell you something? That wasn't exclusive to the Arabs. The indigenous people here in North America, Canada, US, and so on and so forth, they used to have this similar belief. In fact, the Spaniards, when they came, one of the things they did, because Islam had created a systematic way to know where things are going to be at what time, they knew that when the eclipse was going to happen, because Muslims had advanced in technology so far. So the indigenous people here were actually given the same thing and said, look, we are, this is the Spaniards when they came to North America, they said that we are gods to you and we can prove it to you. Why? Because on a certain day, the heavens will cry. They actually used that tactic to convince the indigenous people to submit to them. Now, take this to the opposite way. The Prophet ﷺ could have used that and said, look, you're right, my son died and the heavens are crying. I am a prophet. But what did he do? He did completely the opposite. He said, no, the sun and the moon does not eclipse for anyone. These are signs of Allah. That this time, we need to worship Allah. Do you guys understand this point? Do you guys understand it? Okay? So superstition is everywhere. To this day, people even in Pakistan read horoscopes. You guys understand that? This is a very serious problem. Because this is the qadr of Allah, that we don't question what's happening because Allah already knows. He knows the past, present, future, and hypothetical. What we're trying to say, it's not exclusive to the Arabs. It's a human thing. Right? There's a really good book by iERA. It's called Forbidden Prophecies. And I'm from my limited knowledge, this is the only time anybody has ever wrote a book on the forbidden prophecies of the prophecies of the Prophet ﷺ that I know of in the English language at least. So it's a really good book to look for. If you need PDFs, let me know. I will share it with you. And it talks about how people prophesied things in the past, and they either prophesied them before, like let's say something was going to happen because they knew the circumstances, right? They understood that. Either they prophesied because based of their knowledge they already had, or sometimes people prophesied things that already took place and they pretended like it was said before. You guys understand? So when it looks at the Prophet ﷺ, every single thing he said, it was to the T. Like for example, the Prophet ﷺ talked about the Mongol invasion. The hour will not establish until people will come with, yellow skin, small eyes, shirt wearing silver, and the shoes that are made out of hair will come and annihilate the Muslims. And this happened hundreds and hundreds of years after the Prophet ﷺ. There are prophecies that are happening right in our lifetime. Look, there's one right here, which is what? The barefoot, unclothed Bedouins will be competing with tall buildings. And look, specifically, he's not saying just Arabs will be doing this. He's saying Bedouin, mean people from the desert, unclothed. So what we're saying is 100 years ago, even 70 years ago, people from around the world would go to modern day Saudi Arabia and they would be begging for money because they didn't have any. Today is completely the opposite. So how can the Prophet ﷺ predict something in the future like this? So in order for him to know this, he would have to travel to the future, get to know there'll be a thing called vehicles and cars, and we'd need oil, and then there will be an oil boom, and the oil will come out of this land, and then this people will become rich, and then they would be competing with tall buildings. You guys understand? So I'm just saying to really think about this and explain to people that a true prophet is not only that, that he talks about God, he gives you prophecies that are true. Okay? So he could have used his, experiences to the advantage. Who knows about when the Prophet ﷺ knows about the Battle of Khandaq? You guys know? Yeah? So what happened in the Battle of Khandaq? Yeah. Can we give him a mic? So there was a stone and they couldn't move it. And what the Prophet ﷺ said or did?
Prophet ﷺ took the shovel and said Bismillah, he hit it and then it sparked and then
bring it closer.
Yeah, and then all the companion said what happened. Then he said, I was given the good news of winning the castle at the time, Sassanid Empire, which is Persian Empire. And then he struck it again one more time. Again, it sparked. And then he said he was given the news of victory over Roman Empire. And then last time it was the Constantinople. Again, he struck, and then he was given the good news of winning the Constantinople. And then I was talking other day, actually, that happened 1500, so almost 1,000 years after Prophet passed away, or that event happened. So Prophet must have known the future about 1,000 years.
So here's the point. Think about this prophecy, okay? Imagine the igloos up north, Canada, okay? One day one person stands up and he says, you know, soon my tribe and my people are going to conquer all of the United States and all of Russia and all of China. That's what it's equivalent to. That nobody thought these Arabs meant anything. Even the leaders of the time when the Prophet ﷺ sent letters, he says, what are you guys in the middle of the desert smelling like, you know, camels? Come here. What do you want from us? This is what they thought, that Arabs mean nothing. You guys understand? Islam gave izzah to whoever honors Allah's deen, whether it's Arabs or whether it's non-Arabs. Whoever honors Allah, Allah will honor you. Anyway, that's a different point. The point I'm trying to make here, that so we can explain that he's not a liar, we can explain he's not deluded. So what is he? He must be speaking the truth. If they agree to that, then they already have the foundations of what Islam is saying. So that's the point. So let's apply this, practice this in a real life when we're discussing, so we know how to speak to people. So if everybody can please stand up. You want me to show you how to do this? Okay, can I have someone? Come on up. You raised your hand. It's okay, you don't need your mic, it's okay. John, yeah, so we're speaking to John. Yeah, you're not John, just John. We're speaking to John, okay? So what we're saying, don't worry about that. Don't read it. It's okay. It should become memory, yeah? You don't need mic. It's okay. So, hi, how you doing, John?
Good,
so
how are you?
You agree there's a creator, you agree he's one, you agree to these things, and we're talking about the Prophet ﷺ, and we're saying that the Prophet ﷺ is a prophet of God. So look, there's only three options. Either this man was lying, deluded, or speaking the truth. But what I wanted to tell you, what was his claim? What did he want from us? He wanted people to worship God alone. That was his main mission, okay? The message he came was, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, okay? So, we're saying that this message, either he was speaking the truth, or lying, or deluded. So let's go one by one. We know he wasn't lying, because why? Even his enemies attest to his truthfulness. Even people wanted to kill him, his enemies, were entrusted with their belongings, he would return the belongings to them. Okay? So do you think someone like that would be lying?
No.